Welcome to BTG, Bridging the Gap, Strategizing for Student Success. My name is Marissa Bludort. I am your host. I am the editor-in-chief, CEO of Own It Magazine and Publishing. And taking center stage and Own It Me and Bridging the Gap for our young people is inspiring. Coach Ray is in the house.
We in the building.
Coach Ray. Tell people Happy New Year, right?
We are still at the first part of the year.
Happy New Year, people. We are so excited to be here, and we want you to start the year off right. We want our young people to start the year off right. We want them to have a plan, a strategy. We want to put in their mind a vision for 2023, right? We want to encourage them to be aligned with their design and all of that other good stuff. Talk to us. Own It is focused across all our platforms. Every time we come on live to speak, during the month of January, we want people to start their year off right. That starts with the right mindset, the right perspective. Talk to us a little bit about that when it comes to our young people, Coach Ray.
Having the right mindset and perspective is a major key in life, and what a lot of young people have to learn to do, and what we have to do as the adults that surround our young people is to help position them to understand the importance of having the right mindset, which means that we got to start teaching them how to block out the negative thoughts. And in doing that, we can't be the people that create the negative thoughts for them. So as adults, giving your kid the right mindset is you had a goal as a kid. Maybe you achieved it, maybe you didn't. But you also have learned how to set goals as an adult. Teach your kid that, hey, let's devise a plan. Let's talk this out. You want to go, I coach sports. I deal with a lot of kids from there. You want to go to the league? Great. All right, let's set that plan up. What does that look like? So, and in doing what that looks like, what do you got to get rid of to make it look like what it's supposed to look like? Who do you got to get rid of in your life to help you get there? That's the mindset. And the hardest thing about the mindset change, and what people don't really like, the mindset change is you got to change people that's around you, because people that are around you can toxify your mindset. So you got to get your kids to, as a parent, you got to be the police of your kids' friend group to help them change their mindset. Because you could say, oh, that friend ain't good. Well, why aren't they good? Yeah. Why? Help them understand why. Because this generation that we're dealing with now, I call them the why generation. They want to know why. So if I'm going to say as a parent or even as a mentor, hey, I don't know if that's a good person to be around you. Why? Don't just say it because everybody's parent has said it. So we're talking about mindset. Let's change the mindset. Let's get out of the old habits of because I said so. No, let's help our kids grow. This is why I said this. Your mindset has to change because this person has put you in situations that has created negative scenarios for you. Change your mindset to where you recognize the negativity before it happens. Change who you allow in your circle. Change your focus. You want to go to the NFL, but you sleep till 1 o'clock in the afternoon during Christmas break and you ain't working out. You ain't studying because guess what? What happens is in order to get to college, you need to have a certain GPA to go D1, go Power 5, or what have you. You ain't studying. Change your mindset. Reshift the way you think. You want to be a doctor, but you ain't reading no books right now. You want to be a lawyer. You're not studying. You're not reading. You're not increasing your vocabulary. You're not challenging yourself. That's the mindset change. And how that happens is, as parents, as adults, we got to stop being mentally lazy. Our mental laziness holds our kids back. We don't read, so we don't expect our kids to. We don't increase our vocabulary, so we don't care if our kids do. So because our mindsets are stationary and comfortable where we are, we don't care whether our kids do it or not. And that's the unfortunate thing.
Yeah. There's not encouragement. And so, I like to do my homework. And so in doing so, I found this great article, and it says instilling principles of a growth mindset in your children from a young age can set them up for a life of success by encouraging them to take risk, welcome new experiences, enjoy the process, and understand the value of learning from both positive, successful outcomes as well as failures. Face challenges with a positive attitude. Teach them how to have discipline and work hard. Learn from his or her mistakes. So if we encourage this kind of mindset, it opens them up to one, taking ownership. So when we
Mm-hmm.
talk about our young people and you talk about, having the in-depth conversation. So earlier you said, kids want to know why. They want to know, they don't just want to know, they want to know why. And that's deeper understanding, right? That's giving them knowledge so that they have the knowledge and the skills, the mindset to analyze, assess, and address what they're seeing. And we talked about in our last show about the CEO mindset, teaching our children to have a CEO mindset. And what does that mean? It's not to say something cute. It's really being very serious, because you talked about who the kids are hanging around. So when you think about teaching our young people this concept of a CEO, they are the CEOs of their lives. They are the chief executives of their lives, and it's time for them to make executive decisions. And that executive decision starts with who's in your boardroom, who are your friends, and then to do a SWOT analysis and a needs analysis, right? Who do you need in your life? Who are the people that are in your life, and what do they bring? What value do they bring to the table? When you start introducing these kind of concepts to our young people, it triggers them to think in a new way, to think in a different way. They may not always get it. We may not see. As adults, we are having these conversations, and sometimes we have these conversations with our young people. We say, are they really listening? And truth be told, your young people are listening. They
That's
want this information. They want
what you
the
said is
in-depth
key.
understanding. Mm-hmm.
What you're saying is key, because what we have to understand is they may not receive it the way we think they should receive it, but they listen. They hear
Mm-hmm.
us. They just not. It just doesn't look like the way we wanted to look as adults. Like we want. Okay, so let me say this, and this is the thing. We have to be real. As adults, we have this subliminal authoritative mindset of how we expect everything to look and feel when it comes to our kids. It's not going to look the way we think it's going to look every time. That acceptance of your statement might look like they got an attitude, but that's just them receiving it. Now, if they say something disrespectful, that's different. Now, they open their mouth and something disrespectful come out, that's totally different. But that little, all right, they got you. They hear you.
Mm-hmm.
It just don't look like the
Mm-hmm.
way we want it to look. Now, again, there's a level of
Yeah.
respect that comes along with it. When they get out of line and out of pocket, you address it. But you have to also
Mm-hmm.
understand that these kids hear us. And I've noticed that in working with students in school, I could say something to a kid, they could give me the biggest attitude ever, but then 3-4 months later, they hit you with the yo, what you told me was actually true. And I tell you, case in point, I'll give you an example. I remember a kid that I was coaching at one point. He stopped playing ball one year, and he happened to see me in the hallway during conditioning. And I was talking. I was like, "Oh, where you been? I've been looking for you. Whatever." Oh, coach, I ain't gonna lie to you. He was like, I kind of, I've been out. He was honest. He was like, I've been kind of, he was selling drugs at the time. He kept it 100 with me. He's like, I'm out here, moving weight, whatever. All right, cool. I'm not saying cool in the sense like, okay. I'm saying like, this is what you're doing and you think this is okay. Okay.
Right.
But I will tell you this, you'll be back. This is my conversation. So we had a 20-minute long conversation. I told him what was going to happen. You'll be back. So
Mm-hmm.
probably about 4 or 5 months later, I get an inbox on Instagram. Same kid. Hey, coach, can I call you? Yeah, you can call me. And he calls me and he says, yo, coach, you were right. And I said, what do you mean? He said, no, you were right. I said, what you mean I was right? I don't want to be right, but what you mean I was right? So he says, yeah, I got a court date coming up. I got arrested, and I got a court date, and can you help
Oh,
me out? This is what I
yeah.
need you to do. I need you to come. Once he went to court, I made sure I went to court with him, whatever, went through the whole process with him, and once they gave him his, he got wound up on probation or whatever. This is what you're gonna do. You're gonna come back to play ball for me. I'm going to pick you up for school every day, and I'm gonna take you home every day. This is what's gonna
Mm-hmm.
happen because they hear you. It just sometimes it takes a moment for something to happen
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they got to hit that reality block. They got to hit that wall, but they hear you.
Unfortunately, they do.
They do.
Unfortunately.
It just might not. It might not blossom the moment you say it, but they hear you.
Oh, they
And
hear
what
you. And
happened? This kid now is like part owner of a plumbing company he's working for. Is it one incident for him to be like, I heard what you said, you were right. I didn't want to be right, but I was right.
But it happens. Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
instead of me shutting the door because I feel like he didn't listen. I kept the door open so he was able to grow from that mistake.
Right.
And what happens with a lot of adults that this a controlling authoritative mindset. When a kid don't listen, we just shut the door. All right, whatever, I'm done with you. I'm washing my hands.
Yeah.
And it's like, nah, you gotta have a little more grace than that when it comes to these kids. You gotta have a little more grace than that. They gonna make mistakes the same way we made mistakes. We need to stop acting like we ain't never make mistakes.
Yeah,
Give these kids
that's something
grace to grow.
Yeah, yeah. And it's also too, so young people yearn for direction and instruction. They yearn for
Yeah.
boundaries. They yearn to be safe and secure. You talked about how they respond sometime, and it's not always what appears to adults as enthusiastic. It's not always, it doesn't always appear to us that it's received in a positive way. But a lot has to do with their body language and their
Mm-hmm.
tone and everything else. Has a lot to do with some shame. They wish they would have known to do better or how to do it better. Some
Yeah.
of it is pride. Some of it
When
is pride. Mhm.
because as adults we carry a lot of pride, and they
Mhm.
reciprocate what they see us doing. If you have a
Mhm.
good enough relationship with a kid as an educator, administrator, or what have you, even as a parent, if you have a defined relationship with your kid outside of parent child, there that feeling of disappointing you would be there. Kids don't want to disappoint the people that care about them. They do not.
No.
If I certain students that I deal with in this inside the school building on a different capacity as far as a mentor or whatever, if they disappoint me, when I say like I'm disappointed in you, like you could see they like, dang, because it's like
Mhm.
we had this conversation before. I'm not gonna baby you. I'm not holding your hand, but we've talked about this. We talked about
Yeah.
this behavior. You said the behavior was gonna change. I trusted you to do the right thing, and I'm not saying you failed me. You failed yourself. So how can we get you back on track? But I am disappointed in you right now because I
Right.
expected better. All right, cool. I'm not mad at you. I'm disappointed, but let's figure this out. We're going to figure
Yeah.
this out until you get it right. The same grace we expect from God, we got to give the same grace to these kids. They going to make mistakes. God, you can't say, what if God woke up one day? And I heard this quote the other day. I was listening to a podcast where the guy said, what if God was like, all right, you sinned 7 times. All right, bet I'm done. I'm washing my hands with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how we treat these kids. Like, hey, they ain't
Yeah.
gonna never accomplish nothing. Hey, this and the third. They ain't gonna be no. Don't feed that to them. Hey, you
Yeah.
come with me.
Mhm.
You come with me, sir. You come with me. You let me talk to you because I'm going to get you back on track. We're gonna figure
Right.
this out. I'm not shutting the door on you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that also creates, so when the young people experience, those are adverse experiences, those negative experiences from adults, it causes them to have a fixed mindset. And a fixed
Mm-hmm.
mindset is one that says that is filled with no hope. It doesn't have any hope. It feels like, well, this is just how it is, as opposed to there's change. So adults, if I'm hearing you correctly, and I already know how I feel about it, I hear you can have a major impact and influence on our young people's mindset, whether they are open-minded and have a growth mindset, which would open them to learning, to receiving, to respecting, to appreciating and value, to a fixed mindset that says there's no way. So you're saying that adults have this opportunity to help the kids start their year off right, by being open-minded and having a growth mindset themselves, correct?
Yes, because kids are going to vibe. A kid's vibe or a kid's growth is attached to the people that care about them. If you see a light in your kid's eye because they feel like, oh man, I really want to do this, I want to be different, but you still holding on to what they did last year, you holding them in place. You holding them in place. You can't hold people in place. The same, and again, I'm the type, I'm gonna put myself in the shoes. As an adult, I don't want to be held in place where I was. I don't, but everybody want to run around. All these grown people want to run around and talk about new year, new me. Why can't kids have that growth?
Right.
Why can't we encourage? No, let's stop. Let's stop the new year, new me stuff as adults. We are 35 plus. All right. If you're still trying to renew yourself at 40 plus, then something's wrong. So you ain't figured something out yet.
People are always renewing themselves, but we gotta
renew. I'm New Year. No, that you're supposed to enhance what you became the year before. So if God worked on me and I changed, I'm just sharpening what he changed in me. I'm not becoming new. I mean, I'm trying to be somebody totally different. So why ain't we pushing these kids to just grow from their mistakes? Just grow.
Right.
You made a mistake. You're human. Let's grow from it. What do we learn from this mistake? Rather than constantly throwing it in their face about what they did, let it go. Because they trying to move on. I've had so many kids tell me, like, and this, I'm talking, now you're talking about teachers. I'm talking about their own parents. And they just keep bringing up old stuff every time I'm trying to do something. They still talking about something happened last year. Let it go.
Yeah.
Y'all forget a lot of these. Let's keep it 100. You forgive your significant other more times than you forgive your own kids. You want me to keep it 100? You brought me on. You said you want me to be who I am. I'm gonna keep it all the way 100. These people will forget their boyfriends and girlfriends 1,000 times, but they will hold their kid foot to the fire until they turn 18.
Wow. And we're and at the detriment of their future. And so we really have to become more conscious. Like I said, I love my resources, and I will drop both these links because they're two different resources that I'm using.
Mm-hmm.
Two links, I'll drop them in the comment section. But to start cultivating and developing a growth mindset, here are some tips that they offer for us to kind of take into to practice. So that we transform our mind. So once we become aware of something, the only way that we can change the behavior is we have to recondition ourselves, and we have to become more cognizant and aware of and intentional in our desire to change our mindset. So it says reflect each day on what you failed at and learn from it. So instead of trying to be perfect and feeling all unconscious or all subconscious, and that's why we have such an identity crisis, right? We have identity crisis, we have anxiety amongst our young people, and even adults, is because they flee from ever examining or assessing failure. They are ashamed and so embarrassed that they run from it. Instead, you should sit back and reflect on it each day and what you've learned from it. So the next one is stop seeking approval from others. Trust your own instinct, trust who you are. And sometimes when I love how Dr. Seuss said it, stop trying to fit in when you were meant to stand out, right?
Yeah.
So be okay with standing out. So then the next one is identify opportunities to celebrate the success of others. So you're not always in a competitive mind frame. Compliment. You don't want to be competitive. You want to be able to compliment other people. The minute that you can compliment someone else is the minute that you're free from trying to be better than them. You're free from having a negative attitude towards them because they look great or they're doing great things. The minute you join in the celebration, you're no longer in conflict. So that's very good, to celebrate the success of others.
We have, unfortunately, and again, kids reciprocate what they see from adults. Adults have developed this comparative mindset that they compare themselves to everything everything and everyone, from their marriage to how their house looks, to what car they drive, to how they work, to where they work, to what their accounts look. It's the comparative mindset. So kids are comparing. They're comparing, and this is where the envy attitude grows because they're comparing. Like, you deal with kids who want to do like be a doctor or whatever, and they're constantly comparing themselves to the next kid that's trying to do it. Guess what? The world could use more doctors.
Yes.
The world could use more lawyers. The world could use more engineers. Stop comparing what you have in this moment to what somebody else has, and you grow day to day to get what you're trying to get. Just because that person might have might be a little bit further along than you, does not mean you can't get further than them. It just means they probably started a month or two before you. That's okay. But if you put in the work, you could possibly pass them. But here's how God works. He's going to test you to see if you are going to, you got a friend who's doing well, and if you're going to encourage that friend. And see, a lot of kids need to stop being envious, because this is why we lose a lot of young kids, a lot of kids losing their lives when they come back from college and sports stuff, because the people that they left behind were envious of their success. Stop comparing.
Mm-hmm.
Do and live your life. So you'd rather take a person's life because you upset that you didn't amass what they did. That wasn't your plan. That wasn't your plan. That wasn't the plan God designed for you. So don't be jealous. Hey, bro, congratulations. I'm proud of you, man. You keep doing what you do. And then you figure out the plan God has for you. We got to stop, and the adults have to stop the comparative mindset, because a lot of these adults don't know who they are. They don't know who they are, and they don't know their purpose. So they're not teaching their kids to find their purpose. So this is where the envy comes in. This is where you get the kid that's hating because homeboy came in from college and everybody giving him love, and you jealous because your parents ain't taught you to love yourself, and everybody around you made you think that this dude, you were better than this dude, rather than you just being appreciative that you knew the guy. And then you just work on your own promise, work on your own purpose, work on your own gifts. Because who's to say that your gift wouldn't be something that guy needs later in life?
Yeah.
But you took his life and you ruined yours. So now that's two purposes unfulfilled.
Yeah.
You can say, you know what? His purpose is go to the league. Your purpose might be to be, let's say, for example, a car salesman. He come into town, you a car salesman, he know you, he come see you, now you get the commission off his car purchase.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. So it all goes back.
Find your path.
Right. And it all goes back to, like you said, it's about setting the tone in the home. So setting the tone in the house initially, and what the culture of the family is going to be. Not the culture, ethnicity, the culture of the mindset and the value systems that are inside the family. So there's two more tips that they offer. Focus on rewarding actions and not traits. And start using the word yet more often. So instead of saying, no, it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen yet, or it didn't happen yet. But it leaves open the possibility. So it leaves open for growth. It leaves open for opportunity. And so in closing and bringing, because we already know, like, they are at the top of the year. So these conversations we are going to be going in deep about these, different topics. Every month we're going to talk about it. So all month we're going to be talking about mindset. We're not leaving mindset. We're going to talk about mindset, because in order for transition or learning to be transferred or behavioral to be changed, it's a constant reminder and conversation about the same specific topic.
Right.
So you talked about young people and envy and jealousy, and that's a heart matter. And we're gonna go into that in February, because one, you start off the year right by getting your thinking right, right? Mm-hmm. You got to get your heart aligned with your thinking. So next month, strategically and intentionally, we're gonna go deep into the things about the heart. But you brought that up, and when our mind and our perspective and our attitude is not right, is also a function of what's going on in our heart. We have some heart issues, but we're closing out. So, inspiring Coach Ray, just get your closing remarks, man, because we can go in deep
You
on
know,
this, but we have
we can go for hours.
listen, we
We
got a
go for
whole
hours
year.
just in text conversation. So I already know what we can do here. So
We can
listen,
go in deep for the whole. We can go in deep for the whole year. We got the whole year to transform. For those who are chiming in for the first time, this is bridging the gap, strategizing for student success. We want our young people to be successful, and it starts with the year having the right mindset. So,
change
Coach
your
Ray,
mindset.
close us out. Close us out with your closing remarks.
Listen, I will say this: in order for our young people to change their mindsets, we got to show them what that looks like. In order to show them what it looks like as adults, we got to change our mindsets. We got to let some things go. We got to let some people go, and we got to start moving at the pace of 120%, and less of looking behind us to see if the person to keep constantly looking behind us. To get our kids across the finish line, stop worrying about what's behind us and start worrying about what we need them to see in front of them. As adults, we are adults. Let's push our kids to keep running forward instead of us dragging them back because we're worried about what happened behind us. Stop holding your kids back. Let them fly. And I promise you, you'll be happy.
Yes, yes, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, our young people, we are out. Have an incredible rest of the week. We will see you next week. Same bat channel. We're out. Take care.